Boomer Grandma, you still haven't been coming on my channel. Let me read what you wrote, but first let me do some stuff I'm supposed to get done because I should actually get stuff done. It's good to have stuff done. Okay. What's I doing? There we are. Okay. We're going to be doing Job 9, but let's see. I was just reading in Genesis in the Stone edition of the Tanakh, good, that I inherited from one of my beloved Orthodox Christian monk friends, Father Maximus of blessed memory. I think I've heard of Father Maximus, maybe. He went from being a quasi Jacob, you are interrupting me listening to you ranting at Chezi in the world religion stream. Oh, okay. That's Sandy. Yeah, you don't need to listen to Chezi. Chezi is a thing. Quasi-Christian cult leader in 1970s California. That might be why I heard of Father Maximus. To a tonsured monk who studied at Oxford and wrote many papers addressing issues between Eastern and Western Christianity. I used to clean his monastic dwelling in which there was a tiny church. He died September 23rd, 2022 of aggressive sudden onset pancreatic cancer. Sorry to hear that. I'm so glad I saved many of his books, including the Tanakh. Very nice. Yeah, I don't know if the name sounds familiar. He's not one of the people who was close with Bishop Alexander Golitsyn, is he? Because Bishop Alexander has many students who were very studious in the Hebrew tradition. Hello, there you are. So Orthodox Boomer Grandma, one of these days, you have to come on my channel so we can talk. Today could be one of those days if you wanted to. He was not into Origen. I'm not sure that Bishop Alexander, is he? Oh, I think he's a scholar of Origen, but Bishop Alexander, he knows a lot of stuff. I have not heard about his health. Okay. Lately, I know for a while, Bishop Alexander was very sick, and hopefully he's much better. And Dawn is betraying me. Chezi and Sam had a great conversation in the latter part. I'm not sure about that. Okay, where were we? We were reading Job 9, I believe. I believe we read Job 8. If I'm wrong, may heaven forgive me. Vaya'an Eov vayomer. So Job answers, Omnam yadati ki chen uma yitzdak enosh im el. Truly I know it is so, but how should a man be just before God. I'm not sure I would have translated it Uma Yitzdak Enosh Im El. I would have said, how would a man justify himself? Maybe might be better. Okay. Im yahpotz lariv imo lo ya'anenu achat mini aleph. If one will contend with him, he cannot answer him 1 of 1,000. It's not very clear who the he is here. Is it Enosh or is it God? Chacham levav va'amitz koach mi hiksha elav v'yishlam. He is wise in heart and mighty in strength. Who has hardened himself against him and prospered? So, I mean, it seems to me like that him here should be capitalized. Hama'atik harim velo yadau asher hafaham ba'apo. He who removes mountains and they know not. Okay, removes ma'atik is remove. I would have translated it as yeah. So Orthodox Boomer Grandma says he is capitalized, and it seems to me like it should be. So this is the Koran. Yeah, that makes more. Well, really, they say Hama'atik. Okay, I am actually going to do the Bible Hub thing and look at the stone. Well, I guess I could do this. I forgot I could do this. Ma'atik. Translate. Attack. What's attack? To move, proceed, advance, displaced. Oh, ne'etak. Well, this isn't ne'etak. This isn't nif'al. Yeah, I'm not sure I like this removal. To shunt, transfer, move. Yeah, I'm not sure. It doesn't. Was attack was strong in Job 21:7. I'm of the opinion that this should be place, but what do I know? Who am I to have an opinion? Asher hafacham ba'apo, he who overturns them in his anger. Yes. Hamargiz aretz mimkoma, he who shakes the earth out of her place. Va'amudeha it palatzun, and its pillars tremble. Yeah, margiz has a connotation of to shake in anger. Ha'omer lahares velo yizrah, who commands the sun and it rises not. Cheres is sun. Cheres, to glow. The sun. Okay. Menachot 1:10. The Beit Shimsha. My Mashma. Job 9:7. So apparently the Talmud says that this here, Cheres, means sun. Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about. End of the world movie. Uva'ad kochavim yahtom. And yeah, seals up the stars. Okay, that's fine. Noteh shamayim levado, who commands the sun. Vedorach. Oh, sorry. Okay, wrong thing. I was like wondering. Okay, he alone spreads out the heavens. Okay, that yeah. I thought that was a translation of the above. That didn't make sense. Translation of below. That makes sense. Vedorach ala bomotei yam, and treads upon the waves of the sea. Dorech is to make tracks. Ose ash kesil v'chima v'chadrei taman. Aha, so these here, ash, kesil, and chima are three, three constellations. Okay. And the chambers of the south winds, I mean, they're reading wind in here. Oseh gedolot ad ein cheker v'niflaot ad ein mispar. And this is one of the most commonly quoted verses. I think it's quoted in the liturgy. Who does great things past finding out, yea, and wonders without number. Hen ya'avor alai velo er'eh, v'yachalof velo avin lo. Lo, he goes by me, and I see him not. He passes on also, but I perceive him not. I do not understand. Hen yachtof mi yeshivenu. Mi yomar alav ma ta'aseh. Behold, he snatches away. Who can hinder him? Who will say to him, what dost thou? Eloah lo yashiv apo. Tachtav shachachu ozrei rahav. Stone says, performs great deeds beyond comprehension. Makes sense. We chant some of these thoughts in the Vespers service at sunset. Makes sense. God will not withdraw his anger. The helpers of Rahav, Ozrei Rahav. Okay, Rahab. I don't know where that place is. Stoop under him. Shachachu. Okay. I would probably have said bend down to him, bow down to him, but okay. Af ki anochi enenu evchara devarai imo. How much less shall I answer him? And choose out my words to reason with him. Bent underneath him, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. The root shachach is possibly the root of hishtachava. With the problem with hishtachava is what the exact root is. It's one of the most argued roots out there. Including there are Christians who argue that there is a binyan hishtafel, which is only used in the Bible for hishtachava, which I find silly to believe. Okay. Devarai imo, and choose out my words to reason with him. Asher im tzadakti lo ene limshofti et Hanan. Interesting. Whom, though I were righteous or correct, yet would I not answer, but I would make supplication to him who contends with me. Limshofti. I would be tempted to translate this to he who judges me. Im karati veyaneni lo amin ki yazin koli. If I had called and he had answered me, yet would I not believe that he had hearkened to my voice. Asher b'sa'ara yeshufeni, for he crushes me with a tempest. Okay. Okay. V'hirba pitza'ai chinam, and multiplies my wounds without cause. Yeah, okay. Lo yitneni hashev ruchi ki yasbi'eni mamrorim. He will not let me take my breath. Okay. But fills me with bitterness. Yeah, satiates me with bitterness, with bitter things. Im lachoach amitz hine v'im lemishpat mi yoideni. If I speak of strength, lo, he is strong. And if of judgment, who shall set me a time to plead? Okay, mi yoideni. Okay. Im etzdak pi yashieni. So, I mean, he uses this etzdak, if I be right, if I be just, a lot, and contrasts it with rasha, with being wicked, tzaddik and rasha. Yashieni tam ani veyaksheni. My own mouth would condemn me, though I were innocent. He would prove me perverse. Okay. Tam ani lo eda nafshi em as hayai. Though I were innocent, yet I would not know myself or my soul. Eyes my life. Achat hi al ken amarti tam v'rasha hu mechaleh. Therefore I said, it is all one. He destroys the innocent and the wicked. Im shot yamit pitom lamasat nekiim yil'ag. If the scourge slay suddenly, okay, he would mock at the trial of the innocent. Masat Nikiim trial? Full amount proportion. Yeah, I kind of felt like weight, maybe, but okay. Eretz natna beyad rasha penei shofteha yechaseh im lo efo mihu. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay. He covers the faces of its judges. Penei shofteha yechaseh. Okay. If not he, then who is it? V'yamai kalu mini ratz barhu lo ra'u tova. Now my days are swifter than a runner. They flee away. They see no good. Chalfu im aniot eva kenesher yatus ale ochel. They pass away like the swift ships. Okay. Like the vulture that swoops on the prey. Yeah, so when you have a Orthodox Boomer Grandma says, my translation is so different. Whenever you're talking about such a poetic text like this, you end up with very different translations that are, the more poetic it is, the more difficult it is to translate the same way all the way through, and put all of the and like capture the real meaning. This is again one of the things that like I think ultimately you can't really translate. Like the vulture that swoops on the prey. Im amart im omri eshkacha sichi ezva panai va'avliga. If I say I will forget my complaint, okay, I will leave off my sad countenance. Well, they're reading in that sad, and and comfort myself of liga. Huh. Interesting. I don't recognize balag. Let me see if Pa'alim constructor is of help here. Where is it? There it is. Balag. To restrain, to forbear. Okay. Yagorti kol atzvotai yadati ki lo tenakeni. I am afraid, Yagar, okay, of all my pains, okay. I know that thou wilt not hold me innocent. Yeah. Anochi ersha lama ze hevel iga. I shall be condemned. Why then do I labor in vain? Yeah, that word hevel is vanity, like vanity of vanities. Im hitrahatzti b'mei shaleg v'hazikoti bevor kapai. If I wash myself with snow water and make my hands never so clean, and make my hands never so clean. Okay. Az b'shachat tivleni v'ti'avuni shal salmotai. Yet shalt thou plunge me in the ditch. Okay, ditch, shachat. Okay, destruction. Yeah, I mean, you will plunge me down to destruction. Yeah, okay. And my own clothes shall abhor me. Yeah. Ki lo isha kamoni enenu navo yahdav b'mishpat. For he is not a man as I am, that I should answer him, and we should come together in judgment. Lo yesh benenu. It's interesting way of putting there is not. Lo yesh benenu mochiach. There's no umpire, they put. Okay. Yashet yado al shnenu, who might lay his hands upon us both. Yeah, that's curiously literal here. Yeah, pit I think is better than ditch. Yaser ma'alai shivto ve'emato al tavatani. So apparently there's a large tet here for some reason. I don't know why, but that happens sometimes. Let him take his rod away from me. Okay. And let not his fear terrify me. Okay. Adabra velo iran enu ki lochen anochi imadi. For then I would speak and not fear him. for I am not so in myself. Okay, now let's see what the Malbim has to say here. Open. Open. Okay. פתיחה למענה החמישית, מענה איוב. So the fifth discourse, which is the discourse by Job, כעמוד ברזל התחזק הנתקע הזה להעמיד דעתו. So like a pillar of iron, he strengthens himself to establish his thinking. כי ההנהגה האישית אשר תשפוך בוז על נדיבים ולמסת נקיים תלעג, לא עיני השם עליה. That personal providence is in which good people are being, and he's using the language in the verse already, in which good people are being shamed and and innocent people being gossiped about, right? It's not that God is upon it, kis'o naki ma'alilot ke'ele, because God's throne is too high and holy for such things. Ki me'ito lo yatsa avel, because there can be found no wrong in God. Rak shluchei hamaracha asher b'ha'etz nitna biyadam yadam hayta b'ma'al hazeh. But rather there is there's an established order of constellations and such which guide such things. Uma'anehu hazot nechlak leshlosha chalakim, and this is in three parts. Job's reply to Bildad is divided into three parts. Okay. Bechelek ha'achad yeshiv al hamofet asher hiniach Bildad berosh ma'anehu. So at first he's going to answer Bildad regarding the sign that he spoke about at the beginning of his speech. Lahochiach hashkachat Hashem mitzad hamishpat haklali, which tries to prove God's providence by speaking about general providence, right? Ki yeh avel o chisaron yacholet b'chok hayachol v'hatzadik asher masar hanhaga el meshartim rishayim, because that would be a point of lacking to God's omnipotence if he were to leave things to servants that are evil. V'hakel ra'ui shelo yimtza lo avel, and such things should not be said of God. V'shiyeh lo yecholet hamochlat, God is completely omnipotent. Kamoshe amar hakel ya'avet mishpat, like he said in 8:3, would God pervert justice? Al zeh heshivo teshuvah, Philosophit, gives him a philosophical answer. Kavar hishkif aleha hamore, like is discussed in the Guide to the Perplexed, I believe. Al inyan krov lazeh, who explains it regarding something similar. Behishtav vakeach בשהתווכח נגד האומרים שהרעות אשר בעולם הם יותר מהטובות. That who believe that there's more bad in the world than good. והשיב שזה בא להם מצד שלא יבחנו את המציאות רק באיש אחד לבדו. That's because they may be looking at a particular person who may suffer more than the good that comes to him. ויחשוב כל שכל כי המציאות כולו היה אך בעבורו, and people naturally think that everything is just for them, וכאילו אין שם מציאות זולתו כלל, as if there's nobody else, כשיגיעהו איננו ענייניו בחילוף מה שירצה, when things go against what he wants, יגזר שהמציאות כולו רע. He's going to say, all of the world is bad. ואילו בחן האדם את המציאות וציערו בידע מיעוט חלקו ממנו. If a person understood all of existence and his small part in it, התבאר לו האמת, he would understand the truth. כי זה השיגיון הערוך אשר ישתגעו בו בני אדם ברוב רעות העולם, that this is the madness that has taken over people because of the many bad things in the world. אינם אומרים שהוא בחוק המלאכים. They don't say that this is the statute of angels. ולא בחוק הגלגלים והכוכבים, nor the constellations or stars. ולא בחוק היסודות, not the fundamentals or elements. ומה שהורכב מהם כצמחים ובעלי חיים, or those which come from them, that is to say, plants and animals. רק בקצת אישי בני אדם, but rather a few people. וצריך שהאדם לא יטעה לחשוב שהמציאות היה בעבורו לבד. A person should not make the mistake that everything is just for him. רק היה מפני רצון הבורא. Rather, it is created for God, God's will. אשר מן האדם הוא הקטן שבו, that people are one part of it, בערך אל המציאות העליון, in comparison to all of the great reality. ושם ביאר, and there he explains, כי הרע אשר יקרא אל האדם, מצד טבע ההוויה וההפסד, right? And the bad things that happen according to nature and existence and loss, רוצה לומר מאשר הוא בעל חומר. It comes from the fact that he's material. כי מפני זה יקרא לבני אדם מומים גדולים. Because this causes many blemishes in man. או שמתחדשים משינויים שיערו ביסודות מהאוויר הנפסד, or from or these things happen from the changes in, for example, the element of air, or habrakim, or thunder, va'atsumim, or ha'atsumim, or great thunder, or shkiat mekomot, or things move. Kvar chayava hachachma ha'elokit, shelo tihyeh havaya ki'im habehefsed. And divine wisdom has said that there cannot be existence without consuming. I think that's how you would translate it. Velula ze hahefsed ha'ish'i lo tihye nimshechet havaya hamin'it. So without people losing, consuming, right, individually, then the general existence would not be able to exist. ומי שירצה לחיות בעל בשר ועצמות, and somebody who wants to be of flesh and blood, ולא ישיגהו דבר ממשיגי החומר, yet material things would not reach it. ירצה לקבץ בין שני ההופכים, he wants to gather two opposites, שאם לא יקבל מעשה הפסד החומר לא נתהווה, right? That if he would not accept materiality, he wouldn't exist. והיה הנמצא ממנו איש לא אישי מין, and he would no longer be a part of humanity. ואמת הדבר שאמר גלינוס, I don't know who Galinos is, but this is what Galinos apparently said. לא תייחל נפשך בשקר, שיהיה אפשר, שיהיה מדם הנידה ושכבת זרע בעל חיים, שלא ימות ולא יכאב, או תדיר התנועה, או בהיר כשמש. Is it possible that someone who comes from fleshly human things, it's a little too grotesque to translate, would be alive without death and pain and change, and would be like the glory of the sun. And this is a general rule. Shekol ma she'efshar she'yithaveh me'ezeh chomer she'yihyeh, that whatever is possible from materiality, yithaveh al hashlemut she'efshar lo, it exists according to the completeness that is possible to it. Leit avot min hachomer hahu hamini, from its general state. V'yasig ishi hamin, ishe hamin, min hachisaron kefi chesaron chomer ha'ish hahu. Each person would have a part in that which is lacking. The tachlit ma sheyithava min hadam v'azera v'hashalem sheyihyeh mehem hu min ha'adam, and that which was made is a kind of man. Ve'iyafshar mibli ra sheyimtza lo. It's not possible that there would not be bad in his life. Ubechol zot haraot hem mu'atim be'erech kel haklal v'hamin kulo. El haklal v'hamin kulo. And in relation to the whole, this is a bit. So apparently this is all, I don't know who Galen is, but this is all quotations from the Moreh Nevuchim, Guide to the Perplexed. Yeah. The same passage is quoted by Leibniz in his rejection of Pierre Bayle's argument that there's more bad than good in the world. Interesting. Rosenblum suggests this might indicate that Malbim was familiar with Leibniz's theodicy. I wouldn't know. Okay. Yes, we are still on chapter 9. We are reading the commentary of a particular rabbi. And I'm just making sure that my translation is somewhere near what it should be. והנה, איוב השתמש בהקדמה זו בעניין יותר כולל. So Job uses this in a more general way. Okay. Sorry, that was my mother. I had to check to see what she was sending me. She is my mother, after all. Galen was a 2nd century Greek physician. Okay, I did not know that. Hello, Colonimus. והנה איוב השתמש בהקדמה זו בעניין יותר כולל ובהשקפה על המציאות בכלל. והוא כי כבר נתברר לחוקרים האחרונים. That's what was made clear to later searchers. שגם הכוכבים נכנסים בסוג ההוויה וההפסד, because even the stars are part of this whole existence. ואינה מגשם חמישי כדעת הקדמונים. They're not from a 5th material like some of the ancients thought. רק הם מורכבים בגשם הארץ שלנו. They are similar to our material. ולכן יגיע גם להם ההפסד באחרית. And so they also can be destroyed. והוא מבואר מדברי הנביאים, and that can be seen from the prophets. Isaiah 51:6, כי השמיים כעשן נמלחו והארץ כבגד תבלה. That the heavens will go up in smoke, I guess, and the earth can wear out like a cloth. עוד התבאר כי השמש מלאכת השמיים עם המון כוכביה הסובבים אותה הם כאין וכאפס נגד המון שמשים רבים. See that the sun and its stars which are around it are as nothing when we consider all of the many suns. Alafim v'ravavot, that there are tens of thousands and myriads. Hamafuzarim b'merchak asher lo yishuar, that they are at distances that cannot be measured. V'asher lo נסיגם רק כניצוצות דקות מתנוססים בנתיב החלב. And that we cannot reach them except like little bits of dust in the Milky Way. I think that's what Netiv HaChalav means. Yeah. Yep, Milky Way. I did not know Netiv HaChalav was the Milky Way, but apparently that's how you say Milky Way in Hebrew. והם עולמות אין מספר אשר גם המה מורכבים ומוכנים גם כן אל הכיליון וההפסד. And these are the many worlds which are also subject to being destroyed. Decay and demise. Ad shelifi ze nuchal lomar. So, according to this, we can say, Shegam im yavo et shahashemesh v'areach v'chol hamon hakohalim yikalu v'yafsadu im kol yoshvehem, that even if we say there's a time that the sun and the moon and all the stars will decay or go away, right? Lo yihyeh zeh v'avel v'ra hachlati mitzad habore. This is not a true evil when we consider it from God's general existence. Ki acharei sheratza b'chokhmato livro olam v'havaya v'hefsed, since he wanted to create a world, an existence, and decay. Hakolel betocho hamon olamot, which has many worlds in it, ein mispar, infinitely. Asher hashemesh im tzavav hem kamar midli negdam, that the entire sun is like nothing. Have fun, Orthodox Boomer Grandma, and enjoy your veggie burrito for Wednesdays. הלא המוכרח מצד טבע ההוויה וההפסד הכולל, מצד חומר העולם הגשמי בכלל, אשר העולם הגלגלים נכלל תחתיו, ואין זה רע בערך המציאות הכללי, אשר השמש רק כערך איש אחד נגד כלל המין לנגדם, like we're a speck in the dust in the universe. ואף כי לא יתפשט ההפסד על החלק גדול מן המציאות כמו השמש והכוכבים, רק על כדור אחת, and there has not been this lacking on all of the worlds except one planet. כמו למשל, אם יושג הכיליון רק לכדור הארץ לבדו, if there was destruction only on earth, שאין זה רע לערך כלל המציאות שהארץ כטיפה מן הים נגדם. That would not be such a great thing when we realize that it is like a drop in the min hayam nigdam, a drop in the ocean. V'kal v'chomer im gam bekadur haaretz lo yagia kilayon rak lekatzato. How much more so if only a portion of the earth has destruction. Kamo yishka har gadol mipnei hara'ash v'yamutu kama ravot mibnei adam. Right? Let's say a great mountain falls because of a earthquake, and tens of thousands of people die. Shezeh eino ra le'erech hametziut b'klal. That is only a little bit of all of creation. Ki kach ki chen chuyav miteva havaya v'hefsed. And that is what is natural to be. ואי אפשר שיתהווה כדור הארץ על העניין אשר התהווה. מורכב מארבע יסודות שלא ישיגהו לפעמים השגיאות והרעשים מצד האדם, האישים או החלקים המים או הרוחות הסגורות בתוכו. And this is what the elements, how the elements run, אשר הם לצורך הוויותו וקיומו, which are necessary for it to exist. והרע הנסבב מזה לפעמים הוא כאין נגד הטוב הכללי. And the evil would be a small part of all of the greatness of creation. כי מציאות הכדור נמנע מבלעדי טבע my mom is sending me a bunch of Instagram reels. I don't know why my mom is sending me a bunch of Instagram reels, but she is. Because moms do that. כי מציאות הכדור נמנע מלולדת הטבע הזאת, אם לא שלא יהיה כדור ארצי, רק רוחני או מגשם חמישי. Not sure what that note at the end is saying. For otherwise, the earth could only be either a spirit or made of quintessence. Oh, I had no idea quintessence meant fifth element. Interesting. Ha! You learn something new every day. וכל שכן, שלא ישוער זה לרעה, כלל הרע המשיג לאיש אחד מאישי בני אדם. And how much more so when we talk about the bad things that happen to a single person. כמו הרעות אשר הגיעו אל איוב, like the bad things that happened to Job, מצד הטבע וההפסד הכולל, ועל פי זה יאמר הפילוסוף, כי הוא אינו מתלונן כלל על המשפט הראשי. Right? Therefore, a philosopher cannot have a complaint against the great judge. כי לפי דעתו במשפט הראשי לא יצא עוול מאת ממציא המציאות כללי. This is not something that is a problem of the creator. אחרי כי המציאות בכלל טוב הוא, because generally existence is good. ורצה בו חוכמתו וטובו, and he wants good and wisdom. לא נוכל לייחס אליו אבל אם ימשך בהכרח רע והפסד לאיש אחד מן המין או למין אחד אשר הוא כאיש אחד בערך הסוג, וכל שכן בערך המציאות הכללי, יען כי הרע מוכרח מצד סדר המציאות הכללי אשר לא התהווה זולת זה. Right? Because this is a necessity of existence overall. ובזה משיב טענת בלדד במה שאמר, הקל יעוות משפט. This is his answer to what Bildad said. Would God pervert justice? כי המשפט הראשי כולו טוב וחסד. אין בו עוול. אבל אם נאמר מהמשפט האישי נמשך מאת ההשגחה, אז לא תנוח דעתנו בזה. But if we say that justice, individual justice, comes from this type of providence, this doesn't answer it. כי אז נשאל מדוע לא ישגיח למנוע הרע מן הנקי, right? Why wouldn't God create it in such a way that innocent people would not suffer? ומזה מכריח כי מסר את ההשגחה האישית אל הטבע הכולל. Therefore, he has to say that God left providence to generalities. ובכל זאת, אין עוול לפניו על הרעה הבאה על איש אחד שלא במשפט. Right? So I'm going to say, oh, there's a problem that this one person, right? That's not God's problem. כי השם לא ישקיף רק על כלל המציאות. Because God looks at the entirety of the situation, שיהיה על צד היותר טוב שאפשר, that it would be the best that it could be, והרע המגיע לאישים פרטיים, בטל נגד הטוב, and what happens to individual people is not important when we consider the entirety. הכללי, הנשמר בכלל המציאות. Okay. החלק השני, second answer, בו מתווכח עם שיטת בלדד אשר חידש שיבואו יסורים על הצדיק על דרך התמורה. And the second one is his answer to what Bildad said, that righteous people suffer in exchange. Shayedeh hara sheyasig ata yasig tov ba'atid. Right? That there, he's basically sacrificing the present for the future. Uva asher lo poresh b'divrei Bildad. Be'ez ofen tihiyeh hatumora hazot. He doesn't say how this is exchange happens. Cheker aleha, chakar aleha Iyov kol tzadadeha. So Job explains every aspect of this. Ki hatumora hazot tetzuyar be'echad mechamisha panim. So this could happen in 5 different ways. Vehu ki sheyasig tov ba'atid tmurat hara haoveh. That good things would happen to him in exchange for the bad that is now. Lo yemalet mishnei ofamim. That this would not explain it for 2 reasons. Then one of 2 conditions must apply. Okay, Echad, 1. Sheyeh yichus hatov ha'atid el hara ha'hoveh yichus atzmi. That there would be an essential relationship, inherent relationship between the good and the good now and the evil now and the good later. Sheni. Or there might be an incidental relationship. V'kol echad yitzuyar b'shnei panim ki hayichutz ha'atzmi. Each of these alternatives can in turn be further qualified in 2 ways. Okay. יצואר, שיהיה בדרך הטבע, שנאמר, כמו שכל בעלי החיים וכל עניינם הטבעיים לא ישיגו את שלמותם רק על ידי יגיעה ועמל וצער, right? That it's a natural way, just like every living thing can only reach its wholeness through doing things, through labor and toil. Ken lo yasig hashalem rak et hatov rak al yedei yisurim. That good things can only happen through actually laboring on them. V'zeh ha'ofen echad. That's one way. Ach yihye yichus hazeh mitzad hachalifin. Or that it would be through an that is metered through God's will, hachalifin. V'hu al yedei ratzon Hashem belvad, and that's that it's merely God's will. Shetachat hatzar yishkol lo b'maznei tzidko tov ve'oneg chalifato v'zeh ha'ofen hasheni. Or rather, it's not something that is natural, but rather something that is of divine intervention, that God weighs the relative the balance, bounty and delight being his recompense. And similarly, if there was a incidental relationship, could be in 2 ways. Echad, sheyagia elav hatov besibat hara, that good things are happening because of the bad things. Al yedei tefillah v'rachamim, through prayer and mercy. Shal yedei hayisurim ya'ater el Hashem. The person turns to God because of his pains. V'yaratzehu v'yashiv la'enosh tzidkato, and a person shall return to being just. V'zeh ha'ofen hashlishi. That's the 3rd way. Or sheyeh zeh al derech hanisayon, or it would be through testing, trial. Shal yedei sheyamod benisayon v'lo yitlonen, that he is going to withstand the test and not complain. Al hayisurim yigam lehu tov v'chesed, that God will bring good to him. Zeh ha'ofen haravi, that is the fourth way. Ve'od yetzuar, and there's a fifth possibility. Okay, shatumara hazot hi rak shmirat hahezek bilvad, that this exchange merely keeps from bad things from happening. Vehu she'et sha'at yireh Hashem sha'atzadik mochan betiv'o shichta ba'atid, that since God can see that naturally the person would sin in the future, yakdim la'avio elav yisurim, that God would make bad things happen to him, sha'yidechen yichna levavo, that he would be humbled, v'lo yim'adu ashurav, and he what is it? How they and preventing him from slipping. Okay. Va'az yishov Hashem lasos alav latov, and therefore God will how do they translate this? Again, rejoice over him for good. V'zeh ha'ofen ha'chamishi, that's the fifth way. V'alchen yatsa hamitpal sef, therefore someone who philosophizes, hazeh, or this sophist, lashiv al kol hatzdadim sheyesh lachshov v'zeh, therefore he thinks about all of the ways that are possible with this. Shal ha'ofen ha'achad sheyat murah hazot mitzad hateva, this is a natural thing. Yeshiv le'emor, he answers and says, she'ein shum hitkashrut tiv'i le'yesurim ele im hatov sheyisovev al yadam, that there's no natural connection. Habal ha'chaim im ya'amol lahasik tarafo, that if an animal would hunt to find its prey, הגיע לו מציאות הטרף או העונג תמורת העמל דרך סיבה ומסובב, כי בעמלו יביא לחמו. That this this work necessarily brings forth his food. אבל איך יושג הטוב העתיד על ידי הייסורים אשר אין שום קשר טבעי ביניהם? Why would suffering, which doesn't, like, this isn't like, oh, if you work hard, you're going to get a good thing, because this is just suffering. He's not actually, this is not a natural relationship. Al ha'ofen hasheni, or the second one, sheyeh bezeh derech chalifin, or that God creates a recompense. She'Hashem yishkol lo tov lefi mishkal hatzar, that God is going to weigh out good according to the weight of the pain. Asher hayalo. Al zeh matzah stira b'dvarav, this finds a conflict. She'im ken ech yitzavehu l'chazek et levavo v'lekabel hayisurim b'simcha. Then why is God commanding us to accept these this suffering joyously? שזה סותר מה שאמר שהצער שקול עם העונג שאחריו במאזניים יישאו יחד. Right? What's the point? If God, according to how much he suffers, God's later going to give him good thing. ואם כן, אם יתחזק ויפיג בליבו בצערו ועמלו, if he accepts all of this suffering, right, and it doesn't bother, הלא כן יתרבו ימי עיניו Ad yisbol kamot hatzar, isn't he in fact making things worse? והעוצב הנחרץ עליו בשיעור מצומצם, וטוב לו יותר שירבה צערו עתה. It would be better that he should feel bad about it and suffer now. שבזה יקצר זמן משך הייסורים. That this way he would suffer for a shorter amount of time. This is the heavens or reward fallacy in cognitive cognitive science, cognitive behavioral therapy. I have a sleeping cat on my lap. Al ha'ofen hashlishi, or the third way, she'egia lo tov tumurat hara al yedei tefillah v'rachamim, or that he will pray to God. Herich leitvakach, he explains at length. She'ech yikubal zeh el hadat, how could somebody agree to this? Sha'ish hanagua belo mishpat, that a person who is suffering without good reason, asher yuchal lehitztadak neged makahu mitzad hadin v'hamishpat, that truly it's not right that he'd be suffering. Ki lo chamas asa, he didn't do anything wrong. Ech ne'amar lo shelo yivakesh mishpat, he shouldn't ask for justice. Rak yitchanen v'yivakesh chesed, he's going to ask for God's mercy and kindness. He's not going to get mad and say, hey, I deserve this. Rak yitchanen ke'ilu hirshia umavakesh slicha. Right? Rather, he's going to turn to God like somebody who is apologizing and confessing. Ve'im, after doing something bad. Ve'im lo el tzidkato yifaneh hashofet, ech yifaneh el tefilato v'tachanav, v'shegam ki hamitpalsef lo ya'ava lishmoa shehashem yikabel tefilato. And similarly, the philosopher does not believe that God will listen to his prayers. That he would say, you changed God's mind. And God is not a man that he should change his mind. And that's what he means in verses 13 through 22 when he says, if I respond, he will not listen to my voice. Neged ha'ofen haravi, and against the fourth manner, shetumura zot yihye al derech hanisayon, that this is a test for him to see if he will complain or not. That sometimes the person who is being tested dies from all the horrible things that happen. Right? Where is his reward? Haba ba'avur sivlo savlo va'amdo b'nisayono. How is he receiving for good things for the fact that he was able to pass this test? Neged ha'ofen hachamishi, and against the fifth manner, ki yihyu hazisurim kedei l'shomro shelo yichata ba'atid to'en le'emor ech yihyeh zeh min hayosher ha'eloki li'asuro terem chet'o. Why would it be right that God would punish him before he's done something wrong? Pen yichta be'atid, so that he wouldn't sin in the future. Vehu eden lo adayin lo chata, he hadn't sinned yet. Madua yuka lifnei hachet. Why should he suffer before he sinned? Im yachta az yikabel onsho lo kodem. Right? If he sins, he'll receive a punishment, but not before. And that's what it's saying in verses 29 through 32. Hachalak hashlishi, and the third part. Bo yaroch maracha chadasha neged dat shnei re'av. There he explains a different, a new constellation against his two friends. Asher hechziku b'me'uzam shehashem yodea kol ha'inyanim, that God knows all things, hapratiim, individually, v'gam inyanei adam habechirim, also what God a person freely chooses. B'chol zot ha'adam chofshi b'masav, yet people are free to act. Ve'ein hayediah hakaduma rechet et paulat ha'adam, and the fact that God knows from before doesn't. This is compatibilism, which I believe in, right? It doesn't, just because I know what will happen doesn't mean that I'm causing it to happen. So he asks on this regarding knowledge and free will. Shahem dvarim sotrim, that these are things which disagree with each other. Dude, you're in Turkey. Why are you coming on my stream while in Turkey? Did you get a bus?
Am I on stream right now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, howdy everybody. Well, we're about to be in Greece. Right now we're stuck at the border. Just chilling, waiting for somebody to pick us up.
Somebody to pick you up. Okay.
Yeah, we need a car to basically go from the Turkey border to the Greece border. So we're waiting for a bus. Some
Yeah,
sort of bus to
the
pick us up.
Turks and the Greeks don't get along very well. I'm surprised you flew into Turkey instead of Greece.
Well, okay, so the connecting flight was from LA to Turkey, then from
Okay.
Turkey to Greece, right? But the Turkish airport is completely frozen over, so all the flights are canceled, and basically the next flight, it seems like all the flights we were trying to look at were getting canceled. So we ordered a cab to drop us off at the border, and then we walked over to the people over at the gate and we said, "Hello, here's our passports." And they said, "Oh." And now we're kind of just waiting.
Okay. Interesting. Hello, Andrew.
How's it going, Jacob? It's in God's hands.
It definitely is. It definitely is. We said we were going to Mount Athos. He's like, "Oh, I go there too sometimes." So I think that helped.
I see. Yeah, I guess if it's that cold, I understand why there aren't boats going.
Well, it's. I also looked up. There's no boats, and we were on the other side of Turkey, so like,
Oh, like you're not in Istanbul?
yeah, we were in Istanbul,
You were in Istanbul. I
so
don't
we had to go all the
remember
way down.
Istanbul.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like the Turks, they took down the Great Chain and they put it back up again. What's up with that?
Istanbul. Okay. So you were there, and now I'm guessing you're somewhere around here. Oh,
We're
you guys
in
can't see.
Yeah, I can't see.
Now
we're
you
in
can see.
Ipsala.
Oh yeah, zoom in
So
closer.
you were
It's that
there.
middle. Yeah, we were there.
We're in Ipsala.
Now we're in like near.
We're
Yeah,
in
scroll down
Ipsala.
in the middle, literally in the middle of the image. So like where that highway is. Yeah, so we're right. Pretty much, yeah, right there.
If you
Yeah.
see
Right
Ipsala,
there.
that's where we are.
So you could go to Biri's Cafe and have have some coffee.
It's also like
Cold.
it's like
It's
it's
cold.
probably like 10 degrees and with
We walk-
maximum wind chill, and we'd have to walk. So kind of not
Keeping
the
border
vibes.
station.
So yeah, but the guy said
Uppsala
like
border gate. That's where
Uppsala,
you
that's
yes,
where we are.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Chat. Can we get some prayers, chat?
Chat, yeah, please chat. Hey, if there's anybody in Istanbul right now or in Turkey
Donald Trump, please save.
that'll
Save me,
take us
Donald Trump.
across the border, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Well, the closest, so Upcycle is actually, I mean, he's from Crete, but he
Yo.
is currently, I mean, Cyprus, sorry. He's from Cyprus, but he is currently in London with a lot of people, including Christian Baxter and Paul Vanderklay,
mm,
because there's ARC going on. And
oh,
you guys are trying to get there.
yeah. So there's a bus, I guess today. So it's 4 a.m. right now. There's a bus at 5 p.m. from Thessaloniki to Orianopoli, and then from Orianopoli you take a boat to Mount Athos.
Mhm. Very interesting.
So I think we'll make it. I think we're just gonna meet a very nice person who's gonna take us all the way to Thessaloniki. That's what I'm thinking is gonna happen, or halfway there.
I'm guessing you're going to be riding buses a lot.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Hebrew Bible study. What were we doing?
We were reading the Malbim on Job.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is.
The Malbim lived about 150, maybe 200 years ago.
Okay.
Mm.
Who was he? What
Mm.
was he doing?
Let's see. The Malbim. Let's find the Malbim. According to Wikipedia,
Oh, you know the one of the founders of Wikipedia converted to being a Christian.
he's been a Christian for a while. I don't know why it's suddenly a thing. He's been saying evangelical things at me for a long time. Mayor Leibush ben Yechiel Michal Visser, 1809 to 1879. Better known as
Was he
the
Sephardic?
Malbim, was a rabbi, master of Hebrew grammar, and Bible commentator. The name
Was he
Malbim
Sephardic?
is what?
Was he Sephardic?
I don't think so. He was from Volochisk Volhynia in the Ukraine.
Wild.
Yeah. And at 13, he went to study in Warsaw.
Cool.
Yeah. Chief Rabbi of Bucharest, Romania.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my favorite. He's my favorite commentary on Nach, and Rabbi Mullet suggested that his commentary on Job is rather peculiar and particular. And you guys know how much Jess loves Job. So I went, hey, why don't I do Job? Since Job
Job
is
is
very...
I have a
Shadow,
odd-
say hi. There are the boys.
Hi, Shadow. Hopefully help us.
I have an odd question, Jacob.
I have an odd answer, Andrew.
When interpreting the Bible, do some of these people like rearrange the letters around
Not
so that
usually.
they make like funky new meanings? Like, do they rearrange the letters around?
Oh, like there's a tradition of doing things like that, but that's not considered pshat. That's not considered the first explanation, and most people at the very least, stick to the first explanation. Although there are some explanations which are more midrashic, you might say.
Let's go.
If you say so.
Mhm.
How much batteries do you have?
42%. But yeah, we'll probably head off in a second.
How much? How much? Well, hopefully the data isn't too expensive. But
No, it's like $12 a day.
okay, and you have a charger?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not
We're
gonna
not,
end up, and you're charging right now because I'm guessing there must be something to charge with. Might be a good idea to be charging.
I don't think there's anything to charge with. Yeah, there's no outlets here.
No outlets.
Well,
Just-
actually,
Just hack into one of the lights.
okay. Anyways, talk to you later.
Later. Okay. Those boys, I tell you. Where were we? We were doing the Malbim. Okay. מוכרחת את פעולת האדם, וישאל על זה שאלת הידיעה והבחירה, and this asks about knowledge and foreknowledge, God's foreknowledge and free will, שהם דברים סותרים, ואחרי שאי אפשר לייחס להשם יתברך הסכלות, since you cannot say that God is foolish. ובעל כורחנו יודע כל הדברים העתידים, therefore he must know everything. אם כן, אין האדם חופשי במעשיו, therefore free will is impossible, כי מעשיו מוגבלים מצד המערכת בין לטוב בין לרע, and so the arrangement of the world, whether for good or for evil, והשם יודע בידיעה קדומה כל מה שהוא מחויב לעשות, that God knows everything that a person is forced to do, ועל פי זה ישוב להתרעם. למה יביא עליו ייסורים על ידי מעשיו? So why should he suffer for what he does? אחר שהוא מוכרח במעשיו ואינו יכול לעשות רעה או טובה רק כפי שהוגבלו מצעידיו ועלותיו מראשית קדומים. Right? That all of this is foreordered. גם הוסיף לשאול שאלת הפילוסופים, he asks the philosophical question, אשר שאלו על דעת האומרים שהשם יודע כל עניינים הפרטיים והמשתנים, that God knows all of the particular details. שהלא הפרטיים לא יושגו רק בכוח היולנאי, כמו החוש והדמיון. Hylic force. I have no idea what hylic force is. I understood the English less than I understand the Hebrew. Hylic force. What the hell is hylic force? Hylic, Gnosticism, the basest type of a man in the Gnostic theologian Valentinus's triadic grouping. Lowest order of the three types of humans. Okay. Such as the senses and the imagination, and God has no hylic force, and so can have no knowledge of these circumstantial trivia. כמו החוש והדמיון, והשם אין לו כוח היולני, ואם כן, אי אפשר שידע הדברים הפרטיים. Okay. Hylic force is one that is manifested through something else. Until then, its existence is only a potential. Medieval philosophers divided being into that which exists in itself and that which exists in something else. The latter is designated accident. Accident is then further subdivided into that which exists through the other thing and that which is the cause of the existence of the other thing. The former is again designated accident. The latter is called form. Probably to avoid confusion, Maimonides introduces the term force in place of accident in its general sense, i.e., a being that exists in something else. Hence, force as used by Maimonides designates accidents, forms, the lower faculties of the rational soul, the internal principle of motion, and the universals, all of which require something else in which to exist. Okay. Vezot shenit, and this second one, shapratim hem zmaniim, that the details are temporal. Rotzeh lomar shemetziutam hu bezman, that they are found within time. V'Hashem I afshar sheyasig hadvarim hazmaniim, and God is beyond time. What happened? Oh, wow. Okay, let's see if I can find where we were. The page reset on me. Now I'm afraid if I okay. Must be getting closer. We've done a lot so far, haven't we? It's been an hour and a half. I have to leave in a little while. Right. So there we were. הדברים הזמניים אחר שלא יתואר לא בתנועה ולא במנוחה, that there can be no movement or rest with God. כמו שאמר העיני בשר לך, do you have eyes of flesh? Hakimi enosh yemecha, or can a man count your days? Uvezet nichlalu kol yeter hashalot shesha'al hafilosof, and all of the other philosophical questions. She'im ken mukhrach sheishalem hanechbad bepachot, ki hayediah hu shlemut lahayodea. Therefore, a person would be receiving a recompense that is less, since knowledge is the greatest thing of is that which is greatest for someone who knows. Hashem echad, therefore, and God would not be one. Echad shayodea mitatzem behayedua. ואיך יתעצם האחד במושגים רבים שונים. Let's see how they translated this. That God not be an immutable unity, since a being, knowing being, is augmented by the knowledge it acquires, and how can immutable unity be augmented by various different notions? Therefore, Shalo hapratim ein lahem tachlit. So the details don't matter. V'hayediah hu inyan makif v'kolel, and knowledge is something that is supernal and brings together. V'kol zeh nichlal mimela b'shtei she'alot harishonot ha-rashit. And all of this can be seen in the first two original questions. Because זה הכריח שהאדם מוכרח במעשיו ולפי זה יפעלו kol hashalot ha'ele. And all of this can be answered on the basis of the answer Job gives, that people don't have free will. Ki Hashem yitbarach yedea kol ele hapratim mitzad inyanim hakolel shekvar yeda mereshit kedumim shekol ele hapolot v'hapratim mukhrachim umitchayevim al yedei hanhaga kolelet. All of this comes together through universal governance. V'lo yasig davarim ele b'koach hilani ki hu yodea hasidur hamuskal asher לאלו הדברים מצד שהם מסודרים ומגבלים מראשית קדומים. That this is something that comes from the very beginning and is not heilig, apparently accidental. לכן לא ידע אותם מזה הצד שהם מתחדשים בזמן. It's not because they're temporal, כי מזה הצד שהם מסודרים הם מחויבים כן מראשית קדומים, that they were always known to be. Okay. לכן לא נאמר שישתלם על ידי ידיעת אותם הדברים, כי בהפך ידיעתו אותם הוא מחייב מציאותם. Therefore, it cannot be said that consequently, it cannot be argued that he is augmented by the knowledge of these things, just the opposite. It is his knowledge of them that necessitates their existence. לכן לא יקשה מצד שהידיעות האלה מתרבות ואין להם תכלית, כי בצד הסידור המושכל אשר יחייב אותם יש להם תכלית והם מתאחדים. Right? So there is no diversity because all of these things are understood from their inception. וכל זה יחייב שלא נמצא במציאות עניינים אפשריים תלויים בבחירת האדם. So there's no things which are accidents of a human's will. שאם כן ישובו כל השאלות הנ"ל למקומן, because therefore we would have all these questions. רק כל מעשה האדם החרוצים וקצובים מראשית קדומים, everything is foreknown and foreordained, והשם יתברך יודע הכל בידיעה אחת נצחית כוללת בלתי משתנה ולא מתחלפת, that God's knowledge does not change, ולא מתרבה ולא מתחדשת, it doesn't gain or renew, לא מצד ריבוי הנמצאים ולא מצד המקרים הנטילים לפי דמיונו ננו בזמן או בבחירה, through what we imagine. כי הוא יודע הכל על ידי השגת עצמותו. God knows everything through knowing himself, שבו תלוי קשר כל הסיבות כל תולדיהם עד אחרית ההשתלשלות. זה תורף טענתו ותשוvato b'chol kapitel. This whole chapter, kapitel yud, in the whole chapter, this is the first time I've seen him switch to Yiddish. But all of this is what he is saying in chapter 10. Al pi ze mitzad matza makom lehitlonen. From all of this, he can complain. Since a person doesn't have free will. ואם הוא צדיק או רשע, לא תיוחס זאת אליו, רק אל הסיבות העליונות הנצחיות, אשר בהם תלויים מעשיו ופעולותיו. אם כן, איך יוכיח בתוכחות את איש עלי אבן אשר היה מוכרח לעשותו? And if so, why would it be possible that God, how can he reprove and rebuke a man for the iniquity that he was fated to do? ואם נאמר שלא באו אליו הייסורים בדרך עונש, רק בדרך הכיליון להעביר הרע מן העולם, כמו שממיתים ומבערים נחש שרף הקרב, that God is merely destroying the evil like snakes and serpents and scorpions. Hagam shehem hem ein mazikim bebechiratam, that they don't have free will in doing damage. Rak lefi tiv'am, it is their nature. Al zeh yish'al halo kavar yada Hashem ba'et nolad zeh ha'ish shehu atid lichto l'harshia. Didn't God know when he created him? V'lama bara oto v'yaseh imo hayim v'chesed. Why did God give him life? Halo hayat tov shelo nivra. Would it not have been better if he had not been created? Ve'im b'chol yedi'ato ki atid lachto hakna'ehu et hametziut terem zacha bo ubaod haya efes, that God gave him this knowing that he would sin, right? Gave him existence before he existed. Kol sheken sheyeh ra'ui lekaymo lachayoto achar shekavar zacha b'metziuto, right? So God let him live before he existed. So why not continue his existence? V'lo nusaf bo ata davar chadash ra'ui sheyabed ba'avuro asher lo yada Hashem mimenu kodem, right? Then a fortiori he deserves to be kept alive, for nothing new has now been added to him, nothing that would make him deserving of condemnation, and about which God had not already known previously. Zeh toref shalato, this is the gist of his contention. V'had teshuva alehem timtza b'ma'ana tzofar. The answer to it will be found in Tzofar's speech. And now he's just going to go through the verses explaining how that is. Amnam neged ma ta'an bildad le'emor hakel yavet mishpat meshiv yedati ki chen. I see that it is so. Ratzalomar gam ani yodea shechen hu shahakel lo yavet mishpat. God does not pervert justice. Ki gam hu bana et shitato raya zot shahashem lo yaseh avel uma yitzdak enosh neged hakel ki sheyitztadak ha'adam neged ba'al ribui ribo yihye be'echad ma'arba ofanim. Right, so that would be one of four ways. Echad bederech v'koach im yenatzachehu bevikucho v'zeh lo yetzuar neged Hashem, that he would do it through strength, and that couldn't possibly be with God. Im yachbatz lariv imo lo ya'anenu klal ve'ech yitztak bederech v'koach im hu lo ya'anehu klal, or that God merely might not answer him. יצויר שיצדיקו נגדו על ידי יתרון חוכמה שבזה יתגבר על חברו בחוכמתו, they might be wiser, more clever. גם זה לא יצויר נגד השם כי הוא חכם לבב, right? Because he is wise, right? So verse 4. ינצחהו על ידי יתרון גבורה שיתגבר עליו בכוח אבל, that it would be through force. Aval Hashem hu amitz koach mikol, right? God has greater force than all. Yitzuar shitkaber negdo al yedei shitkashe neged chavero v'lo yazuz mimkomo ad she'ela et chavero. Could be more stubborn, okay? אבל נגד השם מי הקשה עליו ונשאר שלם. המעתיק משיב שעל דברי בלדד שאמר הקל יעבד משפט, שרצה לומר אחרי שזה מבואר שהקל לא יעשה עוול, אי אפשר לומר שיהיה הצדיק נעזב אל המקרא, that a saintly person should be left to occurrences. He wouldn't have sinned and been punished. Asher hu rachok mechek hakel, that God would not do. Azay Mashiv ki gam hu modeh bezeh kamo shekatuv amnam yadati ki chen, I always knew this, aval ma shenidma lana shehara hamagia leish prati bechinam hu aval. זה בא מצד שאנו דנים את האיש המיוסר כאילו היה רק הוא לבדו במציאות, אבל באמת אם נשקיף על כלל המציאות אשר הצדיק הפרטי מיוסד הוא כאין ברכו, לא יהיה זה עוול ועוות כלל, כי אחד שטבע ההוויה וההפסד הכולל חייב שלא יהיה הוויה רק על ידי הפסד ולולא טבעה ההיעדר המוטבע בחומר לא היה שום הוויה כלל, like we explained earlier, right, that it's a point of materiality. מצד טבע ההיעדר וההפסד אשר הוא לצורך ההוויה המינית התחייבו לפעמים חולאים נגעים לאישים פרטיים, והנה הרע הזה המגיע לאיש הפרטי מצד טבע החומר הוא טוב לערך המציאות כללי, from a general standpoint, כי לולא הוטבע החומר על הטבע הזה לא היה אפשר שימצא עולם ההוויה וההפסד, right, that reality could not exist in a different manner, ובהשקפה זאת הרחיב החוקר את דבריו ואמר שלא לבד אם מגיע רע לאיש פרטי אחד אשר הוא כמר מדלי לערך המציאות כולו, רק גם אם מעתיק הרים, as God erases mountains, את שיהיה רעש הארץ, הערים הגבוהות יעתקו ממקומם וימותו ברעש אלפים מבני אדם, like we said earlier, כל זה, ולא ידעו אשר הפכים באפו. רוצה לומר, לא יוכלו לידע זאת ולהחליט בברור שההפכה זאת הייתה מסיבת חרון אפו דרך עונש. It's not possible to know that this is from God's anger. או מוסב למעלה מי הקשה עליו וישלם, who could ask of him בעת שמעתיק הרים לא ידעו, that they don't know, ולהקשות לאמור אשר הפכים באפו, that they would say that this has been turned by his anger. כי יוכל להיות שרעש הזה בא מצד הטבע, ההוויה וההפסד הכולל המזיק, right, this comes from the nature of material שחומר וכדור חלקים אשר מהם הורכב יחייב שיהיה לפעמים רעש הארץ על ידי יסוד האש הצור בבטן האדמה. Okay, the scientific rationalists would not be happy about the explanations, but these are old explanations of why we have earthquakes. על ידי יסוד המים שגרום רעש לפעמים ולפעמים על ידי יסוד הרוח והעדים הנצרים בבטן הארץ כנודע לחוקרי הטבע, like those who look into the sciences בסיבות הרעשים שהם מחויבים מצד הטבע החומר עצמו, כי לולא הוטבע זה הטבע לכדור הארץ היו מוכרח שיתהוו מיסוד אחר וגשם חמישי, right? These were necessary ולא היה נמצא במציאות הארץ כל אשר עליה כמו שהוא עתה ואחר שרים וישביהם אשר ספו מן הרעש הם כאין נגד הכדור כולו והדרים עליו, right? Like we said, person is a small portion of all of humanity, of all of creation. שהיא מצד Metziat Eretz Umlo'ah Tevel V'Yoshvet Ba. All of that. Okay. Hamagiz. Right. מוסיף לאמור שגם אם יצויר כי בעת מן העתים יגיז הארץ ממקומו עד שכלל הכדור הארצי ישוב לתוהו ובוהו, right? Even if completely the earth should become void and null. מכל מקום, מי הקשה עליו וישלם לאמור לא אפשר הפכים באפו. Who could say to him that he turned it over in his anger? שאם יתחייב מטבע ההוויה וההפסד הכולל שיפסד הכדור הארצי כולו, לא יהיה זה עוול בחוקו. וישקף על ההוויה הכולל אשר הכדור הארצי בשחק מאזניים נחשב המון הכדורים הרבים. We said, small part, כל העולמות בפני עצמם, לדעת החוקרים האחרונים, like later scientists would tell us, וכולם יש לומר לפי דעת טבע ההוויה וההפסד כמו כדור הארץ עד שהארץ כולה היא לנגדם כערך איש אחד נגד המין כולו. Right, 1 in a billion. האומר מוסיף לאמור שגם אם יעלה לדעת שהשם יאמר לחרס שלא יזרח, או ועוד ויחתום בעד כוכבים ההולכים מסביב השמש בעניין שיעדר השמש וכל המון הכוכביו, כל זה מי הקשה עליו וישלם. And even if he were to say the sun should not shine, who would say anything אשר הפכם באפו, כי כבר נודע להתבחנים על ידי כלי המחזה הנפלאים. Right? So those who can see through telescopes, כי גם השמש עם המון הכוכביה הם כלומר מבלי כאפס נחשבו נגד רבבות שמשות, right? Like we said before in the Milky Way, right? Milchstraße. I guess that's how you say Milky Way in Yiddish or German. הנראה כקרח הנורא סביב לראשנו, ומי יודע, it would be like some frost around our heads. לא. גם המון השמשות אשר בנתיב החלב הם כאין נגד רבבות הנתיבות חלביות זולתם. עד שלפני זה אם יסיר השם את מוסבת המרחת אשר סביבתנו ויאמר לשמש אדום וירח וכוכבים יחדיו וכליון מצד הטבע החומרית המוטבע גם כן להיפסד, לא יהיה זה רע בערך המציאות כללי. This would not be a large part of creation, ולא נוכל לומר שזה היה על ידי קצף וכעס, רק כן חייב טבע מציאותם עולם הגשמי. מפרש הטעם כי עושה אש כסיל וחימה. So he talks about the constellations. היא ציור בשמות המון השמשות הרבים והנוראים הנמצאים מן השמש עד הכוכב or Uranus, okay, הגדול, משם והלאה אשר תכלה אין החוקר להביט, and a person cannot see beyond them, at least they couldn't back then. ויש וילפינן גם כן שיעור הכתובים, שרצו לומר שעל ידי שמרגיז הארץ ממקומה, ועל ידי שאומר לשמש ולא יזרח, על ידי כן עושה אש כסיל וחימה, כי טבע ההוויה וההפסד הכולל שעל ידו נעשו העולמות הרבים, אין חקר אשר בעולם הגשמי. This is how the physical world was created. יחייב שכלו הגופים האלה ויפסדו כפעם בפעם, and that they would decay ומהפסדם יתהוו גופים אחרים שאין הוויה כי אם על ידי הפסד. Because there cannot be materiality without decay. נוטה שמיים. Hashem hu levado nate shamayim, and God sets the heavens v'dorech, and He creates a path through the waves. Yitza'er ki amad beraglav al b'matei yam v'derech otama b'yadav nata et az et hashamayim. So He's casting an image of God standing on the waves and hanging the heavens over it. כמו שכתוב, אשר ידי יסדה ארץ, וימיני טפחה שמיים, והוא ברא. הכל כגוף אחד כולל, God created all of things together. שהאיברים הפרטיים כולם הם לתועלת הגוף הכולל, והוא עושה גדולות עד אין חקר, בהוויה הכוללית אשר הפרטים, גם השמש וצבעיו כאין נגדם. So he's explaining that God created everything from little to much. עד שהפסד פרט אחד מן המציאות, אף השמש וצבעיו אינו הפסד ורע לערך כלל. מציאות הכולל עולמות אין מספר. הן רוצה לומר, ומזה תדין בקל וחומר שאם יעבור וחלף עליי ואני לא אראה ולא אבין, לא ויחטוף אותי ויעבדני. So if I were destroyed, שעל זה מי ישיבני ומי יאמר אליו מה תעשה, who can say to God what to do, כי מה אנוכי בערך המציאות הכללי, what am I compared to all of creation, אשר אוכל לטעון להשיב על החטף הזה שחטף אותי, וההפסד הכולל אשר הטבעה בהוויה הכללית בעוברו עליי דרך עברה בעלמא, אשר לא היה זה בכיוון עליי, this wasn't directed at me, רק שזה בא על ידי הטבע חומר ההפסד המוטבע בו. That's just natural. God, אתה מתחיל להשיב, and here in verse 13 he starts to answer על שיטת הבלדד, שעושה איוב באו על דרך התמורה, that he said that this was in exchange, אמר לה שאם יתפלל אל השם יסגד אחריתו ויקבל טוב בעד הייסורים, right? That he would then say that he would turn to God and pray to him, כמו שכתוב, אם אתה תשחר אל, if you were to turn to God, כי אתה יאיר עליך. נשיב, איך יצואר זה? How could you think of such things? שאם שופט עריץ יצווה לייסר נקי חינם, would a good judge chastise an innocent person for no good reason? והוא מברר שהוא חף מפשע והשופט לא יסיר ידו מעליו, איך נאמר על המוקע שלא יבקש דרך דין ומשפט חינם, like we said before, right? שיעור הכתוב לא ישיב אפו אף כי איננו, כמו שכתוב תחתיו שכחת עזרי רהב, הוא מאמר מוזכר שמתאר את האף המושל כמושל עריץ, that he is making an analogy between the anger and a ruler. אשר ירהב ויתגעד וסביב לו עבדים ושוטרים הם הנקראים עוזרי רהב, who has a court which could be referred to as the helpers of Rahab, שהם העוזרים לטרוף להשחית והם הולכים שכוח תחתיו לעשות כל אשר יצווה עליהם. לבלוע להשחית אומר אחת שעליהם אינו רוצה להשיב אפו, אשר עוזריו המשחיתים משככים תחתיו, להשחית כפי פקודתו, אף כי אנוכי איננו, that I would answer him. גם שאוכל להשיב לו על פי דין, או לברר זכותי במשפט, ואף כי אחרה דברי עמו, דהיינו שאוכל לטעון טענות מובחרים, that even though I could choose and things to say, בצדיקים, that are correct, מצד הדין, כי לא חטאתי, כל זה לא ישיב אפו, that he would still not turn his anger. אם כן, איך יצורר זה? How could you think of such a thing? אשר אם צדקתי לא איננו, אענה, אם לא אוכל לענות להשיב לו שצדקתי על פי הדין והמשפט, כי טענה זו לא תועיל להשיב אפו הטורף. אם כן, איך משופטי את חנן? איך אזכה על ידי התחונים. So he's explaining how in the words what we said earlier is applying. אם לא אזכה מצד שהדין עמי, איך אזכה על ידי התחננים וחסד. בהפך אני אומר, so I say in exchange for this, כי גם אם קראתי וענני, that even if I call and he answers me, גם אם יענה אותי באמת, right? לא אאמין כי יאזין קולי. לא אוכל להאמין זאת שיאזין קולי למלות שאלתי, right? Why would he listen to me? זה האכזר בעצמו אשר חינם בסערה ישופני, right? Actually, this really works in the words itself. לא הייתי מאמין שהאכזר הזה שהיכה אותי מכות אכזריות בחינם, right? This ruler who made horrible things happen to me, why would he listen to me now? יאזין קולי לעשות עמי חסד, כי בהפך הייתי מאמין, כי לא יתנני השב רוחי, that he didn't let me take a breath, שלא לבד, שלא יאזין קולי להקל יסורי, רק שמה שפוני עליי, לענות אותי הוא להרבות היסורים יותר עד שלא יניח אותי אף ששוב רוחי, דהיינו הרוח שיצא בעת הקריאה, לא ייתן אותו ששוב אל קרבי רגע במנוחה, כי תקף ישביעני ממרמים, ויכפול היסורים המכות עד שיכסה רוחי הנשימה מגודל הכאב. Right, that he who fed me with bitterness, etc., 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 right, why would he answer me? אם לקוח רוצה לומר מה יהיה הסיבה שישוב מדעתו וישתנה מאכזריות לרחמנים, right? Why would God change like this? אם שישיבן הוא מרעתו עליי על ידי כוח שהתגבר נגדו בכוחי, right? What's making him change his mind? הלא אמיץ הנהו ואם בזאת אשרנו הוא מרעתו על ידי שיזמינהו למשפט לפני השופט, מי יודיעני? Right? Would I be able to take him to a court ויזמין אותו בעבורי לדין? הלא לא ימצא שופט שיקרא אותו לדין, there's nobody who can hold God to account, וגם שהלא בכל אופן אצא חייב כנגדו, כי אם אצדק, in any way I would be the one in the wrong, because if I were right, אם אברר לפני השופט שאני צדיק בדיני ושהכני בחינם, that he struck me for no good reason, הלא בזה עצמו פי ירשיעני. Wouldn't that itself, in that I was saying that God did an injustice to me, right? I would be then found to be guilty. שזה עצמו שאומר בפי שאני צדיק נגד העקל, וזה אני רשע. מפרש פי שאמר תם אני הוא יקשני. In that I was saying I was innocent, I would be doing wrong. כי זה עצמו יהיה הוכחה שאני עקש ורשע, אחר שאני מייחס רשע ועוול להשם הצדיק. תם רוצה לומר, ואם אומר שאמת אני תם, if I say that I'm innocent, לא אדע נפשי. That means that I don't know my own soul. שבכל זה איני יודע את עצמי. ויוכל להיות שאני רשע ושהכני במשפט. Possibly I don't understand myself and he struck me justly. שבזה אצדיק את הקל כפי טענת אליפז, שאמר האנוש מלוא יצדק, right? According to what Eliphaz had said, על זה, excuse me one second. I think we're almost done. אמאס חיי, כי נבחר מוות מחיי בוז כאלה. שהגם שהוא יודע שהוא צדיק, יאמר שאני יודע את נפשו ושהוא רשע. I would rather die than to say that I was right when I didn't understand that I was wrong. גם רצה לומר שמזה אני מברר שהגם שאני תם, בכל זה לא אדע נפשי, כי התמימות שלו אני אינו בפני נפשו ורצונו וחירתו, רק הוא מוכרח על זה מטבע יצירתו. That whatever good he has comes from being formed so. כי אין בחירה בידו, because he has no free will. ואם כן, אין מגיע לו שכר על צדקתו, why would he have any sort of reward? ועל כן אמאס חיי, אחר שהיא מוכרחת במעשהו ואין לה שכר ועונש. Right? That I do not believe in free will. אחת היא, it is one thing, לכן שב שנית להחליט שאין השכחה פרטים אשר תדין את האדם לפי מעשהו, כי האדם מוכרח במעשיו, רק הנהגה אחת היא בעולם, היא ההנהגה הכללית. That the only thing that makes that God is sovereign in the hyper-Calvinist way. הקצובה כפי המערכה וכפי צורך ההנהגה הכללית. והנהגה זאת אחר שהיא מוכרחת לפי הסיבות הקיימות ובלתי משתנות אינה מבחנת בין טוב ולרע. There's no difference between good and bad. רק תם ורשע הוא מקלה, right? He destroys both the innocent and the wicked. שההפסד הכללי המוטבע בחומר לא יבחין בין תם לרשע. This is natural. אם על מה שהניח בלדד שיבואו יסורים על הצדיק על ידי התמורה, right? So that this is the other thing that we said, that there's a form of exchange. כדי להרבות שכרו של ילפינן דבריו שהוא על דרך ניסיון, שאם, like we explained that his words mean that this is a test, שאם יראה השם שיעמוד בניסיון ולא יהרהר אחר מידותיו, ייתן לו טובה כפליים נגד הרעה. God is going to give you so much good for not complaining. על זה משיב שזה יצדק אם לא ימות מתוך הייסורים, אבל אם שוט ימית פתאום. אם מת מתוך הייסורים, if there's a quick death, right? So he's explaining it within the words, why you would read the words this way. הלא אז מבואר כי למסת נקיים ילעג, לחינם עמד בניסיון וקבל הייסורים, ולא יקבל טוב תמורתם אחר שמת. Since he died, he's not going to receive anything for it. Kevan al atzmo shahaya be'inav ke'ilu met, since he saw himself as a dead person. Ki I afshar sheyichyeh min hamakot ha'ele. The person would not be able to live through such suffering. Kamo sheba'ar be'siman vav, like was explained in chapter 6, I believe. Ve'im ken ma yo'il im ya'amod b'nisayon. What good is it if he succeeds? Eretz. לכן חוזר למה שכתוב בפסוק כ"ב. אחת he, therefore he goes back to what saying that it's one, right? That God is destroying the wicked with the innocent. שהכל תלוי בהנהגה אחת הבלתי מבחינת בין טוב לרשע, ומפרש מי היא ההנהגה הזאת שארץ נתנה ביד הרשע, היא הנהגה המערכת הנוהגת ברשע. This is the way of nature, which is evil. ומדמה זאת במליצתו כמלך גדול צדיק אשר מסר הנהגת המדינה ביד מושל רשע. It's like a great king who leaves a governor who is wicked. והוא הנהגת ברשע ואכזריות. והוא התנהג. ובאשר הוא מתיירא שלא יתוודע הדבר אל המלך ושופטי הארץ, לכן פני שופטיה יכסה. And since he doesn't want God to know, therefore he hides. So he's explaining in the words, right? Hides the face of the judges. נמצא תחבולות שלא יראו השופטים, ולא יודע להם רוע מעשיו, כן אין צעקת בני תבל ומשפטם על הנהגת המערכה, ורוע סדרה מגיע לאוזני השופט העליון. Right? God, in a similar manner, doesn't hear individual people crying. כי אם לא אפוא, רוצה לומר, אם לא הרשע הזה, שהוא מערכה, ידו הייתה במעל הזה מאבות המשפט הנעשה בארץ, מי הוא העושה זאת, שהלא אי אפשר לייחס אבל אל השם בעצמו. Right? That we can't say God has done anything wrong. ויאמי אם יהיה כוונת בלדד מה שכתוב שיסורי הצדיק הוא הם על דרך התמורה, right? That he said it's an exchange. מצד הטבע העניין שאי אפשר להשיג טוב אם לא באמצעות הרע. Right? It's not possible to achieve good things except through things which are lesser. כמו שהבעל החיים לא ישיג טרפו רק על ידי העמל. Right? That you have to labor for your food. כמשל שהביא מן הצומח שלו יחדש נעוריו, רק אם יעקרנו ממקומו וישתלנו במקום אחר, like he explained regarding vegetation before. על זה משיב וכי אפשר לומר שימי אשר כלאו מיני רץ ובורחים בלא טובה, אומר עליהם כי חלפו אוניות עבה. I would say it is in exchange for fast ships שדומים בעניין החליפתם על ידי הייסורים כמי שהולך בעניין מצד חפצו ורצונו. It's like a person who gets onto a boat because he wants to, שסובל צער הים ועמלו שעל ידי כן ירכש רכוש רב ומרחק יביא לחמו, right? So that he can bring riches from afar. או שדומים בזה כנשר אשר יטוס עלי אוכל, like a bird comes down to its food, שעל ידי העמל ישיג אוכל לנפשו. כי במשל הזה העמל והצער הסובל הוא עניין רצוני ובחירי. This is something that he wishes to. אבל הייסורים הם בהכרח. But the suffering is something that he doesn't have a choice in. But amel habal chaim, that and when you're talking about the toil of the living, lasig tarfo, yesh kesher atzmi lam amel im harevach, right? That there is an essential relationship between the toil and what he gains. Shasig temurato kayachos hasiba im hamasuvev. That's not true here. Ma hayachos hativ'i bein hayisurim ubein hagamul shasig temuratam, like we said earlier, im amari. And this is the fourth reason. Im tomar shatumura hazot tihye al derech hagamul. שהשם יגמלהו טוב כפי ערך הצער אשר סבל במידה ובמשקל, והדבר תלוי בחפץ השם הגומל טוב תחת רע. על זה משיב שאם כן יסתור את דברי עצמו מה שיעץ אותו לשכוח צערו להתחזק כנגד הייסורים, right? Like we said, if he forgets and says it's nothing, he's actually reducing the thing. Right? If it's something that he's receiving in exchange, it doesn't make sense. משקל נגד הצער והיגון שיסבול, ומשקל הצער כתוב מאת השם מבלי עודף ומחסר, right? He's going to only suffer as much as he needs to. אם יתגבר על ייסוריו ולא יצטער, right? That if he doesn't let him borrow, בהכרח יארכו ימי הייסורים עד שיגיע צערו אל המידה הקצובה. וזה שאמר, אם אמירה שלי אשר אומר החליט בדעתי שאשכחה שיחי, right, that I'm going to forget these things. עם זאת, תרגיע את נפשי שעל ידי כן אזבע פניי. Through this, I'm leaving that which, I'm leaving my anger, ואבליגה, ואתחזק ולא ארגיש את הצער. הלא על ידי כן, isn't it through that, יגורתי כל עצבותיי. הלא אפחד שבהכרח אני צריך להרגיש kol atzvatai, then it doesn't mean I need to feel all my punishment. Shehushat alai leitatzev v'litztaer. Ki yadati shelo tenakeni. That I know that he doesn't cleanse me, or right. V'lo tasir yadcha ma'alai ad eshte kos ha'etzbon. Right, that until I take my medicine, I'm not going to write kula. Kefi hamida asher nechratz alai b'mlo'o mibli chesron. Right, in ken b'ma she'etchazak v'lo etztaer halo yarchu o yigdadlu hayisurim. I'm going to make things worse. Ad argish kol hatzar v'etzbon ha'katzuv. Uma arviach b'ma she'ezava sichi v'avliga. על היסורים אחר שאני מוכרח לסבלם עם צערם ועצבונם כפי הקצוב עליי במידה משוערת. Right? If this is something that is measured, right? What's the point? Anochi ersha. So I would be wrong. Im תפרש עניין התמורה אשר הניח בלדד שרוצה לומר שם מביא יסורים על הצדיק שעל ידי זה יכניע. Right, so the other excuse that we gave, that this is to humble him. את לבבו שלא יחטא בעתיד ירד מאת השם ויעמוד בצדקו ולא ירשע. על זה משיב אם תאמר שבאו עליי יסורים מדאגה מדבר אשר אנוכי ארשע בעתיד. If you're going to say I'm going to be bad in the future, והשם מביא עליי יסורים כדי שלא ארשע, על זה משיב, then I would say למה זה הבל איגע בעוד אשר התרחצתי במי שלג. Right? Why would I toil in that I am going to be in that I bathed in ice water. Lama yikdim lavi Yisurim terem shayashati she'od lo chatati haya lo lahamtin ad she'ersha b'achta. God should have waited as b'shachat tevalteni ayidei she'ehyeh meluchlach ba'avanot, that I would be already whatchamacallit, meluchlach, dirty in my sins, then he would cleanse me. ואז יתבעוני שלמותי מצד עצמם, כי אז יהיה העונש ראוי מצד החטא, אבל לא שיענישהו בעוד לא חטא, ובעודו רחוץ מכתם וטהור משמץ דופי. Okay, כי אמנם אחר שהקל אינו איש כמוני אשר אוכל לענות אותו, that he's not a man that I would be able to answer him, גם אם יצויר שאוכל להכריחו להזמינו לדין עד שנבוא יחד במשפט, כי אז יסתמו טענותי מצד פחדו ואימתו, זאת שנית כי, so it would be impossible because lo yesh beinenu mochiach, there's not between us a umpire, right? Shelo yimtza shofet asher yochach, like he said, there's no right judge who can judge between us, beinenu levarer im mi hatzedek me hatzedek mi hatzedek hatzadik שישית ידו על שנינו עד שיהיו מוכרח לציית דין, ואם כן אי אפשר שאזכה עמו על ידי שופטים ודיינים, ולכן אך זאת אבקש שעל כל פנים יסר מעלי שבטו. I would ask that at least he remove his rod from me, שהם הייסורים, וגם אימתו וגדלו אל תני בעניין שלא יראה לדבר כל אשר אצא לא מפחד העונש ולא מיראת הרוממות עד כי, right, he requested the suffering cease more even terms, adabra velo irani, so that I would be able to speak without fear, ad she'adabra mibli mora v'pachat le'mor lo da כי לא כן אנוכי עמדי עמדי שאני צדיק בעיניי וחינם יסרתני בייסורים. I see myself as a innocent person and you chastised me for no good reason. Okay, that was long. 2 hours and 22 minutes. Okay, and I have stuff I have to go do. So it was nice meeting you. Be well. And to the kids in hopefully Greece by now, they Godspeed.